Okay, this week on the Talk Accelerator podcast, we've got a very special guest. We've got Veronica Crystal Young. I'm proud to say she's a TEDx speaker. She's one of my clients. She's just like fresh off the TEDx stage. So we're going to kind of find out how it all went, the highs, the lows, the journey, and everything about the TEDx experience. So Veronica, thanks for coming today. Thanks for speaking to me today. And congratulations on getting your TEDx, achieving it. And yeah, over to you. Please introduce yourself.
Thanks so much, Adam. Yeah, it was a exciting and long experience, but very gratifying. Very gratifying. Yeah, it was. It's really interesting because I've heard stories of people that submitted to like 50 or 60 or 70 or 80 places, and I submitted to 5.
Yes. That I've heard that a lot as well, and that's I think I pride from our group and people going through this. I've never had anyone apply to that many.
It's just and some of the other TEDx speakers on the TEDx stage that I shared in Riverside, they said they had submitted to quite a few too. But it's clear that it's they're very particular about who's joining and who's on their stages, so I think that's great. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And just like what are you currently doing, or like tell us a little bit about what you're currently up to. And I was looking at like some of the intake information, and I know and I think you're in medical field, hospital manager, and you was doing 50 hours a week kind of when we started and stuff. Just talked about some of the challenges when you came into this process, over a year ago.
Yeah, some of the challenges was time. I mean, time was the biggest thing for me because I have a full-time, more than a full-time job. It's basically, as I said, 50 to 60 hours a week.
Yeah,
I'm working for the hospital, and it's a remote job now, which is great. I'll only go in a couple of times a week because I'm in finance for the hospital, but it was a challenge finding the time to devote to submissions or, even
the group
program.
I've got in here, like we knew the time was going to be right off the bat. It was going to be a challenge. So it's like every time you did had to be like very kind of efficient and pinpointed and like, not sort of wishy-washy. We needed to kind of really.
Yeah, and that was very difficult because sometimes when I join programs, and this one included, it's hard to get on the calls because I have meetings or I have things scheduled for work during the day. Most people don't have calls at night, which is when I could probably join. So the timing was the biggest issue, and then actually, solidifying the talk. And it's so funny because what I submitted and what I talked about in my video to the curators or the producers of the event ended up being very different from what I ended up talking about. So and that was because of just going over and over and over again what I needed to talk about and what the talk was really about. So that was very interesting to me. It was very and that took a lot of time.
Yeah,
that took a lot of time, to flesh that out.
100%. In terms of, I know the challenge of the time, especially for the group stuff, and we did some one-to-ones. I mean, what was useful, different, or valuable to you in this process of working with me?
The initial how-to. I mean, the initial how-to. What do you do first? If I remember correctly, and again, it's been a while, so forgive me if I don't verbalize it right. But your videos and your lessons about do this next, do this next, do this next. And the thing that stood out to me was you didn't really talk about locking down the talk at all. Making sure that you knew exactly what you were. You just come up with an idea and then present I get what you're saying.
I'm definitely about like locking down the TEDx talk, but not exactly like the structure of the talk.
Yes, not a structure of the talk or the actual talk.
Yeah.
Now, if you remember me, I had the talk. I had the talk when I was submitting. And I'm kind of, that's just because I'm just, everything's got to be in its place with me. I mean, that's just the way I work, but it doesn't have to be that way. And I found that I thought that was very sound advice because that's true. And what I started with, as I said, isn't what I ended up with.
Yeah, no, I can see it here. Wrote down sort of the initial idea and stuff, and I know it evolved in a good way, and completely you kind of you were open to that. Yeah, and definitely.
Yeah. So that was very valuable. And I believe you have the 6 to 8 steps. I forget. It's been a while.
There's 10 total modules, but the later ones
I got it
into the structure of the talk.
Yes. And I didn't get there. Get there because I had it. So it's so funny.
And then when we got to when it was like building up to your event, we was doing some one-to-ones and really digging into the structure talk. And you, like you said, at that point, you were, I think, the most prepared in terms of the talk structure. It's like probably about 6 weeks out, was it? Maybe even more in terms of like.
Yeah, 6 weeks out, it was done. I mean, I had the talk was done. It was done between you and you as a coach and the other coach I had. It was locked down. I mean, it was done, and it was now I just had to memorize 5 pages.
Well, and again, one of the highlights of your whole journey. Well, it was great working with you, getting sort of hearing it develop. But then we had a new kind of group coming through. We just started the process, and you was able to drop in, like I think about 3 or 4 days before your actual TEDx. And these obviously people who are kind of starting their journey, wanted to see how it was, and then. At that point, I'd heard you talk many ways and like been inside it from variations, but this was coming in fresh, and you'd performed or had that final rehearsal in front of, a different audience who didn't know your background, to come in and part of the group. And you had got inside the group, you got tears, laughter, and just unbiased feedback. And that was epic.
Yeah, that was really valuable, because I had given the talk. I'm president of a Toastmasters here, also in California. So I'd given the talk to them several times in the different iterations, right? But that was very well received. It's always great to do your TED Talk, and I believe this is true, in front of people before you get on that stage.
Oh, 100%.
Very important, because you learn where what you might need to tweak. You learn that maybe you don't have enough humor in it, or maybe you don't have enough release. Mine was a very heavy talk.
Yeah.
So, I had to make sure that there was some release all the way through the talk, because otherwise people would walk away and just be so depressed. I mean, it's just, not going to happen. So that was my main goal, is to get the point across and then also make it light. So, and with your group and doing it in front of people, I realized it was working, because I was really worried that it was too heavy. And then they said, oh no, it was great. You brought in, this, that, and the other. And I said, okay, good. So then that really helped to bring in the release pieces, like you said, the fluidity of the talk, like your highs and your lows, and bringing in some humor and, that kind of thing. That was really important.
Yeah.
Really important. Yeah.
And I was looking at the timelines, just give people an idea. We touch base, and then we sort of paused over the summer, and then we really hit the ground last sort of September, October. So it was really, and then you delivered your talk in the following September. So it really was a full year to become a TEDx speaker. Can you remember when you realized it's going to work for you, or when you thought, this is going to work, or was it always like, were you always confident in the process, or was there kind of a moment when you thought, this is going to work, I'm going to get on there?
What's funny is that I think I'm a different animal in that I have a full-time job.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm hungry to get on that stage because I need it to get clients or to do whatever I need to do for validation or whatever. Yeah. I don't need that. So I think for me, it was like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it's okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind
helps.
of, and so it's so funny. I had a conversation with a marketing person the other day, and we were talking, and I said, I have to be honest with you. I'm not hungry. I mean, I have a full-time job. I'm not. And I said, my priorities are different right now.
Yeah.
If I was a full-time coach or speaker and trying to get on stages all the time, oh my God, TEDx, are you kidding? This is huge. And I know it's huge. I know it's huge now. And I have that in my cap. Before I retire from the hospital and move on to do the speaking and coaching full time. So it is very important, I think, as far as a marketing validation piece for speakers and coaches. I think it's very valuable, and I'm very happy that I have it under my belt. So that's how I answer your question.
No worries. And again, as I say, we're fresh stage. So your video hasn't come out yet, if I'm correct. No. So I suppose we're talking about like, what's it like now? And you, before the interview, you sort of touched on the group of people, the experience. What's it like now you've become a TEDx speaker in terms of going to the event, delivering the talk and the experience? And this is the point, you've got to show off your little awards and the cups and stuff that you show.
Yeah. Well, so, you know, it's kind of nerve-wracking because you're waiting. So as you know, all the TEDx and TED events are individually produced. So they have guidelines that you have to follow, which you go over in your talk, you know, not motivational, you know, you can't sell anything, you know, all those things. And so what happened was 5 people got on really quick to the TED platform, got accepted, mine and 3 other people did not. We have to go through more of a validation process, and I think that's mostly because we had all of us had sensitive subjects. Mine was about rape and abuse. One was about suicide and homelessness. Another one was about racial diversity and inclusion in the workplace. I mean, not that it's really sensitive, but I mean, they want to make sure that
it can make organizers nervous.
Yes, it makes exactly. So I mean, so the TEDx is done. We were on stage. We did it. It's fine. It's all recorded. But in order for it to get on that big, you know, $26 million platform for TED, it has to be vetted through that organization. So that's what we're waiting for. It will be up. It will be up on YouTube, not a problem. But that can't go there until it goes through that whole vetting process 100%. With the main TEDx organizers. So it's kind of nerve-wracking because we're sitting back, all 4 of us. We're going, oh my God, what's going on?
How was the experience on the day, getting on the stage, and the group of people it obviously attracted? We had about 120 people in the audience, which was nice. And it was professionally produced and filmed, which was great. It was exciting. We had a little green room in the back, and we were all talking, and we were, you know, we'd go out one by one, you know, and put the mics on, and it was just like, I mean, to be honest, it was just like being on stage. I mean, I'm an actor, so it was all home week for me. It was fine. I mean, I'm used to that, but some of the people were not used to being on stage and doing all that. So, you know, we had conversations in the back, and but it was done very well. And kudos to the curators and the producers for that event, because it really went very well. Awesome. And can we see a flash of the little award, little memorabilia? Very cool, little TEDx mount.
It's really cool. Yeah, it says TEDx Mount Rubino, Veronica Crystal Young, TEDx speaker, September 24th, self-expression.
Love it.
And then that little cup there that was given to me by one of the speakers, Renee. And then we had oh my God, where is it? There's a bag that one of the women made for us. Natasha, she made a little bag with us that had Mount Rubino, TEDx, you know, and it was, I mean, we were just everybody. And I know it was so funny. We've been talking about, we're going to have a little TEDx reunion.
Nice.
So, you know, everybody, I think I'm going to know these people for a very long time. We went through a lot. And what was great about it is not only did we all meet each other at least a month and a half before, we had at least 5 rehearsals in person. I lied, not 5, 4. In person, in front of each other, and gave each other feedback, which was really helpful. On top of the coaches and the producers and the audience. So, I mean, it was all done very well, and I was very happy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And if anyone's kind of seeing this video and they're thinking of either TEDx and they're checking either me out or just like the program and the process of this, they've come this far, they're like trying to find out the details behind the scenes. What would you say to them about kind of jumping into the process and working with me on the Talk Accelerator to become a TEDx speaker?
I would say the idea is really important, as you mentioned. I would say make sure you don't think it's going to happen overnight.
Yep.
That it's going to be, you need to be patient and systematically go through the steps.
Yeah.
I think that depends on where the places that I put in my talks. Interesting. It's very they're all very different. Some people don't get back to you at all.
Yeah.
Some get back to you and say, sorry, you didn't make it. And then obviously the ones that do, you made it. So, I mean, just be patient. Know that every single event is not the same.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's very valuable to know. I would look at, as you say, in your training, go and see what they've done and how they've done it in the past.
Yeah.
Now, this one I did, this was their first one.
Yeah.
So they hadn't done it yet. And oh my gosh, I'm so glad I got in because they did an amazing job.
And that, sometimes it's the first ones, because they're obviously they want, this is their first effort. They want to make it the best thing.
It was like the best. And I'm just so fortunate to feel like I can do that. And I'm so glad it wasn't virtual, because some of them are still virtual.
Yeah.
And this was on stage with, people. And it was, I think those are, I personally feel those are more valuable than the virtual ones, but that's just me personally. But I would just say time, just give yourself time and really work.
Would you recommend the process to others? The program, Talk Accelerator program? Yeah,
I think so, because I think you learn a lot about yourself. I think you learn a lot about, I'm a self-growth person. So I think that you learn a lot about yourself as far as patience, what you feel you can and can't do. Like I thought, I had no doubt that I could do it.
Yeah.
It's just the timing of it. How long was it going to take me to get on that stage?
Your situation now, like a lot of people, the challenge is time, and that's what impressed me about you. We knew that as a challenge coming in, and like you said, you knew you was going to have limited time, but you were going to use that time, and you weren't going to use that as an excuse, as many people do. Like, I don't have time, or I can't make the time, and just drop the ball. We always kept that kind of accountability moving forwards, kept in touch, and we worked with what we had to keep it moving forward. So
and I think that I very many times I'll say, oh, I don't have time. But if I really want to do something, you kind of make the time, to do it. So you do. Well, so that's that.
Well, on that note, we're here today. I know it's early morning, so I really appreciate your time. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you, working with you, helping you get on the TEDx stage. If all clients like you, it would just be absolutely awesome. So thank you so much for your time today, Veronica.
You're welcome. Thank you, Adam. I appreciate all your help and your work, and congratulations on your program. I think it's awesome, and I hope I know other people will get on the TEDx stage.
Awesome. Thank you. That was about 20 minutes. That flew. So, there we go. So how's the rest of your day looking? When's it? Oh, I know you got to go to your mum's.
I've got a meeting at 8, and I'm working today. So that's happening. So it was a great process. I mean, I have to tell you, it was really great. And I appreciated your the videos and all this stuff when I had time to watch them. I mean, again, I think that was the biggest thing for me, is that I'm not doing this for my living right now.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest difference between some of the people that are maybe in your program and that are just starting, because they want it really badly. Yeah, it's all tied into their livelihood. And for me, it's not.
Yeah.
And I know that's a lot of, and Matt and Jen and all that other stuff. I love them. I love those programs. And I actually just joined another one with Matt, you know, the one with, what's his name? Ruben. Yeah. The one that's speaking. And I'm not in a position to speak a lot of times unless it's virtual and just fly off somewhere. I mean, actually, now that I'm remote, I probably could do that. But I mean, I just, you know, when you build a business, you have to build a business. And you do, and you have to have time to build a business, or else hire people that will do it for you. And I just haven't done that. So you know, and I know what my time frame is. I've got a couple of years left, so I need to build it up, and that's what I'm doing. So
nice transition.
So and a lot of people, it's so funny. And some of the other places I've been, they're like, oh, I just quit and I just did it. And I'm like, okay, well, that's great for you, but I'm not doing that. Because I know
settle down.
Because I know what happens with me. I freeze up, and I if I'm worried about money or anything like that, my creativity's out the window. I already know that about me. So, you know, everything's got to be
having that covered allows you to be creative. And I totally get it.
So let me ask you, is this a podcast or is this a video cast?
This is a podcast. So TalkXcelerator, this come out. I do it in batches and seasons. So
it's not video.
Or the video, I put the video, I used a little clip for my testimonials.
Oh, got it. Okay, so it's not, okay, so the whole thing's not, okay, great. So it is a podcast. It's just voice.
So the whole thing's the
That's podcast. What I thought, because I didn't put any makeup on or anything. I'm like, oh my God, is this all
obviously
video?
I'll take for the testimonials, obviously that'll be on the, you know, for.
Oh, good. Okay. Okay.
Definitely. Yeah. And and again, I probably clip like a 2-minute one for, you know, for a testimony, and then have a longer case study if someone wants to delve in and like see the nitty gritty behind the scenes type stuff. So
yeah.
Cool. All right, Veronica. Okay. Well, I'll let you crack on. I really appreciate you starting your day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Stay in the loop. I know it's been great to connect with you, and I don't see it as just because you're a TEDx speaker, it's all done now. So
no, I'm actually. It's so funny because you say that, because I even told the other TEDx speakers, I'm still in touch with several of them, and Mila, of course. And I've said, you know, I'm doing more than one, because as I went through that process, and I didn't say this on your show, I probably should have. As I went through the process, I realized I have more than one TEDx, because things came up as you're going through the process of crafting your actual speech. And I'm like, oh, but you don't want to go down too many roads with the TEDx. You know, you have one idea, not 5, and you don't have time. You got, 18 minutes. You can't go over it. So I realized, okay, I have at least 2 or 3 more TEDx's that I could go from that whole process. So that was really great. So I know that
that's another thing. When you don't know, and that happens a lot once you get into it and you've achieved it. You know, the big barrier is going from not a TEDx speaker to TEDx speaker. Now you know all the things. I get it completely. And again, generally, it seems to be from a lot of people a positive experience to the level that I want to do this again.
Yeah. No, it was great. So it was great, and thank you so much for all your help and guidance on that. I appreciate it.
No worries. Right, I will definitely let you go now.
Okay. All right.
Cheers, Veronica.
Take care.
Have a good weekend as well.